Religion has been a part of humanity since the first astronomers peered into the sky and created elaborate stories to define the movements of our universe. It made its way into our minds as we fearfully created devils and demons to explain the danger lurking in the darkness of night. It has both enchanted and burdened us as we attempt to define our world with the information available to us as we work our way through history. However, things are quickly changing. For a growing number of us worldwide, what was once indescribable is now easily explained by the vast data we have gathered as we work towards refining our understanding. We are becoming painfully aware that, although our religions gave us a starting place for thinking about how our world functions, they no longer serve us in that process, and in fact, have left a trail of destruction in their historic path. Here are 10 ways religion is destroying humanity. 1. The assumption of truth. Most of our world's major religions each assume that it is their faith alone that is the absolute truth and refuse to concede that those traditions may be mistaken. Instead, they discover ways to force conflicting information to adapt to their own doctrine, no matter how effective the evidence is at actually disproving the rationality of that particular religion. Many religious adherents have no problem understanding the irrationality of others' beliefs, but are unable to apply the same logic when observing their own doctrine. Instead, every effort is made to justify why it is their, and only their, religion that is void of any fault. If they were to observe their own faith with the same set of scrutinizing eyes that they see through when evaluating others' faiths, they would understand what many of us have already concluded. All of our religious texts were written by people, not gods. They are the stories and traditions that we created in order to explain our world in the past. The problem with this is that by insisting that an obviously fabricated story is absolute truth, the opportunity of arriving at the actual truth is greatly diminished. It creates a world where stories are placed above reality and reality is never within reach. It creates a mental mindset in people that is driven by misinformation and then passed on to future generations where misguided concepts are perpetuated. 2. The promise of reward. The faith of many followers hinges on the idea that there is some reward for devotion to their deity. For the Islamic gentleman, it is a promise of virgins after death. For the Christian, it is a perfect place of infinite peace and comfort. For Hindus, it is escaping the grueling task of reincarnation, and for the Buddhist it is reaching nirvana. How many of these same enthusiasts would subscribe to their religion if there were not a reward for their commitment? Without a reward, the faith does not carry the same power to control its congregate. Human beings are rarely motivated to commit to anything without a reward for their commitment. We work diligently through school for the reward of a career and money. We work hard in our relationships for the reward of satisfying unity with other human beings. We humans do everything to reap the rewards of doing that thing. And those who create the religions our world follows know this well. Without the reward, the base of followers cannot sustain itself. This is a problem because it keeps people hinged to a system that they never question because they are so immersed in the promise of the reward that they never stop to question if the reward is real, or human conceived. 3. The superiority complex. Religion enables people to act callously and inflict mental punishment on those they label evil without consequence to their hatred, and then permits them to honestly believe that their hatred is defensible as good moral conduct. This is the illusory carrot of religion, an eternal reward for an elected few, and infinite punishment for everyone else. It is a narcissistic mindset that keeps adherents both comforted and terrified, a virtual mental prison to which the follower is consciously unaware. It saturates their relationships, often keeping those relationships from ever truly holding any love and kindness when those they interact with do not agree with their religious interpretations. 4. The usefulness of control. Most religious supporters are not mindful of the fear that has been instilled in them, often from birth. It is a fear that is so subtle that it goes undetected for much of the followers' life. It is so deeply embedded that it is not even recognized as fear, but as truth, when in reality, it is a most destructive form of control. For those who take the time to study the origins of religious beliefs, they are well aware of how, when, and for what purpose a religion began. Unfortunately, a great number of religious followers are either prevented from or discouraged from learning the truth about how their religious system was established. This is highly evident in modern theocracies where citizens are restricted from viewing numerous websites that would offer the information that would reveal the truth about the origin of their religion. 5. The distraction of division. As most propagandists understand, by separating individuals from their peers, they are usually able to think more clearly and logically about the information being presented to them. However, when consistently surrounded by their peers, if they are not cautious, they may likely fall prey to being persuaded into believing a truth that is not true at all. Religion depends on this human herd mentality in order to maintain its stronghold. When you keep a person within a specific religion, reinforce the ideas of that group and then make everyone else outside of the group somehow immoral. Maintaining control of hatred towards others is effortless. Religion segregates people into clusters of believers and non-believers, making human unity and peace nearly impossible. It teaches people that those who disagree with them on a variety of life's issues are perceptively evil and unworthy of their friendship, or even of their humanity. The problem with this is that it perpetuates a cycle of division in societies. That division causes an insurmountable distraction that enables the internal corruption that destroys nations. Those in power are well aware that a community divided amongst itself has no strength to withstand tyranny or corruption. 6. The threat of theocracy. Many individuals who support religious leaders and concepts do not realize the impact that a theocracy will have on their own lives and freedoms. Some people simply follow certain political and religious leaders and trust that they have their best interest in mind. But, in reality, the agenda they support will both further corrupt and further oppress their own country and its people. A modest study of modern and past theocratic societies easily demonstrates how oppressive religiously governed countries are towards their people. 7. The illusion of love. Here is the problem. Many of our most revered religious texts have hundreds of verses where the deity of the story literally instructs people to kill disobedient children, kill disobedient women, commit genocide and infanticide, subdue and silence women, and lot more, all by the instruction of or in the name of their God. Here is the bigger problem. It's one thing that these words are written, but it is a terrifying thought that many people in this world actually excuse this behavior simply because a god they worship did it or authorized it. They rationalize that this behavior is acceptable if an all-knowing being approves it, or that their god was punishing sinful people who did not agree with the same teachings they follow. This enables atrocious people to justify inhumane actions if they commit those actions in the name of their god. 8. The fear of end times. For thousands of years, religion has used the fear of end times to control the masses. What began as mythology that told gruesome stories of a horrific end to our world has evolved into periodic religious mania over an impending doom lurking above the future of humanity. Fortunately, we have grown enough in our understanding to realize that prophecies of war, famine, atmospheric disruptions, pandemics, and expulsion of redundant belief structures are effortless formulations when one comprehends that these occurrences have been and will remain a repetitive element of the human experience. If our world is truly going to explode in a fiery furnace of wrath and agony, it will be by our own hands when we destroy one another by our human hatred. 9. Justification for inequality. A simple and honest study of our world's theocracies, and countries such as America where those issues are being debated, reveals how our holy texts are used to discriminate against women, LGBTs, and foreigners. Our top 3 world religions texts are full of discrimination against these groups. In fact, it is openly used as justification for that discrimination. Religion facilitates erroneous rationalization of the attempts to remove basic rights from others. It prevents people from living in peace as a community and within their own lives. It forces entire groups of people to work tirelessly to create and preserve rights that should be available to them already. Many of our religions treat women as subhuman property rather than the part of the human species that gives life to every one of us. Instance where this gender-based bigotry is enforced, it is always attached to a religiously based belief system. Religion gives followers justification for treating others who are not like them in inhumane ways. 10. The oppression of terror. It would be easy for some to look at the violence in religion today and point fingers at one specific religion. The propagandists that dominate many of our mainstream news outlets ensure this. But the truth is, many of our religions have already asserted themselves through force and violence in the past. This is not merely a modern problem. Our history is full of examples of this religious human dilemma, and is even written in the pages of some of our own holy text. It is a truth that many deny because it is easier to deny atrocity than to face it, especially when that barbarism has been committed by the very same faith that we follow. Our religions excuse the terror and oppression we inflict upon our fellow human beings. Our conclusion. It's time to let go and rise above the outdated and cruel exploits of our past that we inherited from our ancestors, and realize that our early misinterpretations of our world do not have to define the future of humanity. And that's it, guys. Sure do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.